Hello everyone, and welcome back to our channel. Today, you will learn English through an interesting and easy story called My Family's Trip to the Airport. This story uses simple English, useful vocabulary, natural conversations, and real-life situations that English learners can understand. Please listen carefully, repeat the sentences, and imagine the scenes in your mind. Now, let us begin. Chapter 1. A Special Morning. It was a bright Saturday morning in the city of Chicago. The sun was slowly rising, and the birds were singing outside. Inside a comfortable house lived the Anderson family. The father was Michael Anderson, the mother was Sarah Anderson. Their son was Daniel, who was 15 years old. Their daughter was Emily, who was 12 years old. Their grandmother, Grandma Susan, also lived with them. This morning was very special because the entire family was going to the airport. They were traveling to California to visit their relatives and spend their summer vacation. Daniel woke up early. He looked at the clock. It was 5:30 in the morning. He jumped out of bed and said, "Today is the day. We are going to the airport." Emily heard him. She walked into his room and said, "Please be quiet. It is still early." Daniel laughed. "I am too excited to sleep." Soon Sarah entered the kitchen. She started making breakfast. The smell of pancakes filled the house. Michael carried several suitcases into the living room. Grandma Susan sat in her chair and smiled. "This reminds me of our family trips many years ago," she said. Chapter 2. Preparing for the journey. After breakfast, everyone began packing their final items. Sarah checked her travel list. Passports? Checked. Tickets? Checked. Phones and chargers? Checked. Michael smiled. "You always make a list," Sarah replied. "A list prevents problems." Emily packed her favorite books. Daniel packed his headphones. Grandma Susan carried a small bag containing her medicine. Michael looked at the large suitcases. "We have a lot of luggage," Daniel laughed. "Mom packed half of the house." Sarah smiled. "We are staying for 2 weeks." At 7 a.m., a large family van arrived outside. The driver, Mr. Johnson, greeted them. "Good morning, everyone." Michael shook his hand. "Good morning. Please help us with the luggage." The family carefully loaded their bags into the van. Emily looked back at the house. "Did we forget anything?" Sarah answered, "I checked everything twice." Chapter 3. The Road to the Airport. The van drove through the quiet streets. The city was slowly waking up. People were jogging. Coffee shops were opening. Cars began filling the roads. Daniel looked through the window. "I love early mornings." Grandma Susan nodded. "The world feels peaceful." Michael checked the time. "We have plenty of time." Sarah said, "That is why we left early." The family talked and laughed. Emily played music softly. Daniel watched airplanes flying high above them. "Soon we will be inside one of those planes," he said. As they entered the highway, traffic became heavier. Suddenly, the van slowed down. "What happened?" Emily asked. The driver answered, "There is some traffic ahead." Sarah looked worried. Michael remained calm. "We still have enough time." After several minutes, the traffic started moving again. Everyone relaxed. Daniel said, "That was scary." Grandma Susan smiled. Travel teaches patience. Chapter 4. Arriving at the airport. After 1 hour, the family finally arrived at the airport. The building was huge. Large glass windows reflected the morning sunlight. Airplanes stood outside. People walked everywhere. Some were arriving, others were leaving. Daniel looked around with excitement. "This place is amazing." Emily held her mother's hand. "There are so many people." Michael paid the driver. "Thank you for bringing us." Mr. Johnson smiled. "Have a wonderful trip." The family unloaded their bags. Automatic doors opened. Cold air entered the building. Inside the airport, screens showed flight information. People pushed luggage carts. Announcements echoed through the hall. Sarah said, "Everyone stay together." Grandma Susan nodded. "I do not want to get lost." Chapter 5. Checking In. The family walked toward their airline counter. Several people were already waiting. Daniel looked at the large screens. He found their flight number. Flight 248 to Los Angeles. Michael smiled. "Excellent work." When their turn arrived, the airline employee greeted them. "Good morning. May I see your passports and tickets?" Sarah handed them over. The employee checked the computer. "Everything looks good." She weighed the luggage. One suitcase was too heavy. "I am sorry, but this bag exceeds the weight limit." Michael looked surprised. Sarah opened the suitcase. Emily laughed. "There are too many shoes." Sarah removed some items and placed them in another bag. The employee smiled. "Perfect." She handed them their boarding passes. "Your gate is B-17. Daniel looked at his boarding pass carefully. "This feels real now." Chapter 6. Security Check. The family walked toward security. Many passengers stood in line. An officer said, "Please place your bags on the conveyor belt." Everyone removed their jackets. Daniel removed his headphones. Emily placed her backpack on the machine. Grandma Susan looked nervous. "I have never liked security checks." Sarah comforted her. "It will only take a few minutes." Michael walked through the scanner. Beep. The machine made a sound. The officer smiled. "Please step aside." Michael realized he had forgotten his keys. Everyone laughed. After another scan, he passed successfully. Grandma Susan slowly walked through the scanner. Everything was fine. Soon, the entire family collected their belongings. Daniel said, "We made it." Chapter 7. Waiting at the Gate. The family reached gate B-17. Many passengers sat in comfortable chairs. Some people were reading. Others were using laptops. Children played nearby. Sarah bought water bottles. Michael bought coffee. Emily bought a magazine. Daniel stood near the window. He watched the airplanes. One plane landed. Another plane took off. The engines roared loudly. Daniel said, "I want to become a pilot someday." Grandma Susan smiled. "You can become anything if you work hard." An announcement came. Flight 248 to Los Angeles will begin boarding in 30 minutes. Emily became excited. "We are really flying." Chapter 8. An Unexpected Problem. Suddenly, Sarah looked worried. "Where is my purse?" Everyone became silent. Michael asked, "Did you leave it somewhere?" Sarah searched everywhere. "It is missing." Daniel said, "Maybe you left it at security." Michael and Sarah quickly walked back. Emily stayed with Grandma Susan. Daniel tried to stay calm. After several minutes, Michael returned. Sarah was smiling. The security officer found it. Everyone felt relieved. Grandma Susan said, "That is why we should stay calm." Sarah nodded. "I learned an important lesson today." Chapter 9. Boarding the Plane. Soon the announcement came. Passengers for Flight 248 may now board. People formed lines. The family showed their boarding passes. The flight attendant smiled. "Welcome aboard." Daniel walked into the airplane. He looked around. Rows of seats filled the cabin. Emily sat beside the window. "I can see everything." Grandma Susan sat comfortably. Michael placed the bags above the seats. Sarah fastened her seatbelt. The captain spoke through the speakers. "Welcome aboard. Our flight to Los Angeles will take approximately 4 hours." Daniel smiled. This is going to be amazing. Chapter 10. Taking Off. The airplane slowly moved. It reached the runway. The engines became louder. Emily held her mother's hand. The plane moved faster, faster, faster. Then suddenly it lifted into the sky. Daniel looked through the window. The buildings became smaller. Cars looked like toys. Clouds surrounded the airplane. "It is beautiful," Emily whispered. Grandma Susan closed her eyes and prayed. Michael smiled. "We are flying." Chapter 11. Inside the airplane. After some time, the seatbelt sign turned off. Flight attendants served drinks and snacks. Daniel chose orange juice. Emily chose apple juice. Grandma Susan drank tea. Michael read a magazine. Sarah watched a movie. Daniel looked outside. The clouds looked like white mountains. He imagined walking on them. Emily asked, "Do airplanes ever get tired?" Everyone laughed. Michael answered, "No, airplanes need maintenance, not sleep." The family enjoyed the flight. Chapter 12. Turbulence. Suddenly the airplane shook. The seatbelt sign came on. The captain announced, "We are experiencing some turbulence." Emily became nervous. Grandma Susan held her hand. "It will be okay." Michael said, "This is normal." The plane shook a little more. Then everything became smooth again. Sarah smiled. "We survived." Daniel laughed. That was exciting. Chapter 13. Arriving in California. After several hours, the captain spoke again. "We are preparing to land in Los Angeles." Everyone looked outside. The city appeared below them. Roads stretched everywhere. Buildings stood tall. The airplane descended slowly. The wheels touched the runway. Everyone clapped. Emily smiled. "We made it." The plane stopped at the gate. Passengers stood up. The family collected their bags. The flight attendant said, "Thank you for flying with us." Chapter 14. Baggage Claim. The family entered the baggage claim area. Suitcases moved around on a large conveyor belt. Daniel searched carefully. "There is our blue suitcase." Michael lifted it. Emily found another one. Grandma Susan sat on a bench. After collecting all the bags, Sarah counted them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Everything was there. Daniel smiled. No luggage is missing. Chapter 15. Meeting their relatives outside the airport. Their relatives waited. Uncle Robert waved. Aunt Linda smiled. Their cousins, Jake and Olivia, ran toward them. Everyone hugged each other. "Welcome to California." Grandma Susan became emotional. "It has been many years." Michael smiled. The journey was worth it. The children laughed together. The adults talked happily. The family loaded the luggage into 2 cars. As they drove away, Daniel looked back at the airport. He remembered every moment: the early morning, the traffic, the security check, the missing purse, the airplane, the clouds, the landing. He smiled. "This has been one of the best days of my life." Ending. And that is the story of my family's trip to the airport. Through this story, you learned useful English words and expressions such as boarding pass, luggage, airport security check, flight attendant, runway, passenger gate, take off, land. Try reading this story again. Repeat the conversations aloud. Practice the vocabulary. And imagine yourself taking a trip with your own family. Thank you for listening. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and continue learning English through stories. See you in the next story.